Welcome to Buckets, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, and this is your Warriors-Wolves second round playoff series preview. We're going to break it all down. We'll give you best bets. We'll give you a guide to all things, all angles, all sides, all totals, all props, everything on this episode. And to do so, I've got noted, passionate, deep Warriors fan, Brandon Anderson, wearing a Timberwolves shirt for some reason, to break this down. This is the Brandon Anderson series. You liked OKC for a while, and then you kind of just didn't, and so now
I like OKC too. It's a perfect West semifinals for me. I like everybody over there. Just whoever comes out of the East, I hope you get crushed by the West.
We'll talk about all this with NBA futures analyst Brandon Anderson. You can follow him. Okay, you can follow him in the app at Wheaton Brando. And those numbers, if you have you can check us out in the Discord. If you have questions about any of the numbers, come hit us up. I will answer those questions. Okay. No further ado. Brandon Anderson, what are your 10 words about the series?
This is when all that Warriors attrition finally catches up.
Mine is, I think the Wolves are going to kill the Warriors. That's my 10 words for this series.
Wow.
I think they're going to kill them. This is definitely so. Brandon bet 16-1 on Pistons after Game 4 when it went down 3-1 because it was a stubborn no, I'm right. And he maintains his feeling on that, and I don't blame him for that. How that series went. This is very much for me I'm not surprised the Warriors won that series. It's the Rockets. They employed Jalen Green in a prominent role. I'm not surprised. I am unimpressed, wholly top to bottom, with the Golden State Warriors. There is nothing about them that impresses me from a playoff basketball perspective. I cannot be impressed with anything on this team beyond the I'm not impressed with Steph because I've seen it before. I know what Steph looks like. I'm not impressed by something I know. He made an incredible 3-pointer. Wow. I've seen it. I know it. So I'm not disrespecting them. I just am not impressed. And everyone else is very impressed with this idea of them. And I don't see it. I don't see an elite defense. They are a not good offense. The Wolves are a better team top to bottom. That's where I have to bet them in this series. But I'm curious, what's your best bet for this series?
I want you to lead into yours with that prologue. Give me your best bet, and I'll do mine.
Wolves 4-1 plus 410. They're going to win in 5 games. I will also take Wolves minus 1.5 because you can still get a pretty good price on it. But I actually love the price of 410 for them to gentlemen sweep the Golden State Warriors.
I looked at both of those. I got this might be my most complex bet ever, but I have a basic one. The basic bet is just Wolves game 1, Wolves series. It's been going so great, Matt, so far in all the other series we're watching. The home team, the team we know is going to win the series, the team that's 0-1 at home in all 3 series. Wolves game 1 in series. It was plus 115 when Joe talked about it on Buckets Live Sunday night. I believe best is minus 110 at Bet365 right now. That's my main bet. I'm going to have 3 escalators that we'll get to that are going to be 2 Wolves and 5 exact outcomes and a Wolves sweep at 10-1 at BetMGM.
Okay, let's start with where you think the Wolves have.
Do you want to give prices?
Oh, I can for sure. Let's do FanDuel. The Wolves are minus 188, Warriors plus 158. Wolves minus 1.5 is plus 118. Wolves minus 2.5 is down to plus 240. This has taken some money since I put these bets in. Correct score is Minnesota 4-1 is now down to plus 390. Wolves have basically just taken money since this opened. That this jumped out immediately, and the early bigger money has moved this in the Wolves direction. Yeah. There's confidence in the Wolves. We're not dissecting away from this in any sort of way. So I'm not surprised at that notion because of all the kind of factors here. This is interesting because it's a 6 versus 7. We don't get those very often. This is a 6 versus 7 seed.
It's the third time ever. We had it 2 years ago featuring the Warriors, but that's it. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more the way the NBA is trending, but it's not a common thing. It's also the first time in 28 series with the Warriors and Steve Kerr that they have not been the favorite to start the series, which is kind of crazy because about a week ago, we talked about it here on Buckets. What do we think the line will be? and you were at like plus 150 for the Timberwolves, minus 150, I think, for the Warriors. And I was saying, no, I think it's even higher. I think it's minus 175 or something. And now here they are, totally flipped the other way. Because guess why? We had to watch the other 3 Warriors games since then that happened when it should have been 1. And the attrition matters, and the way that those games played out matters. And all 7 games were Rockets basketball that the Warriors clawed, scratched, found their way through. But I'm with you that I do not think we should be impressed with this team. Timberwolves on offense. Either side, prepare for threes. We're going to get a lot of threes in this series. I think it's going to be a shot variance series. Both teams are top 5 in 3-point attempts. Timberwolves are top 5 in 3-point percentage as well. That should be advantage Minnesota, you'd think. In the season, it really wasn't so far. I'm a little thrown off on the season series here. I did all my research. I felt great. I had a great call. I'm like, okay, Wolves in 5, maybe 4. This is a wrap. And then the season series really threw me through a loop a little bit. So I want to over-index on it. But when they played each other in the 4 games, they were about dead even on threes. All 4 games on 3-point attempts, pretty much dead even. And shot percentage was about even too. So Golden State's going to get their threes up. We're getting a lot of threes both ways. The Wolves defense typically is good at limiting threes and has a good percentage, but that has not really played out so far when they've played. The Wolves get to the line a little bit better than the Warriors do, except the Warriors have trended up since they got Butler. I do think, when we saw in the season series, I think Nas and Dante are going to be really big weapons off the bench. I think that's significant. The Timberwolves offense is definitely better than the Warriors offense. I don't know that I feel like the Timberwolves offense is a slam dunk here. They're just kind of better at a lot of things. And my main question for them is one we talked a little bit on our other West Series preview. I think turnovers are the biggest swing factor. If the Warriors push this series deep or contend or win it, I think it's turnovers. The Timberwolves ranked 20th in turnovers this season. It's one big flaw in their offense. Since getting Jimmy Butler, the Warriors are number 1 with a bullet, forcing turnovers. They're number 2 all season in points off turnovers. We both agree, we'll get to the Warriors offense in a second, we're both skeptical about the Warriors offense. Turnovers turn into offense. In the season series, and this is where it really got spooked, Timberwolves turnovers by game against the Warriors, 9, that's fine. 15, 16, and 21. Those are not good turnover numbers. That's over 15 a game against the Warriors, and it's why the Warriors won the season series 3-1. That is, as always, bad for your Wolves offense, good for the Warriors offense. So that, to me, is the big swing factor. Again, turnovers. But what do you see when the Timberwolves are on offense?
So it's gonna be interesting to see here. The Kerr is still hanging on to a lot of old principles here of like, we're gonna play small and switch everything, and look how switchable we are because we're the 2016 Warriors. And it's like, oh, you're not at all. By the way, are you freaked out by the Warriors offense not being good? Because I keep saying it and don't really believe it because I'm still like, no, it's the Warriors. Like, they have an incredible offense. They have
it's very weird. It's very weird. But then you watch and like Gary Payton was out in Game 7. But Steve Kerr is choosing to start 3 non-shooters around Steph Curry. Like, the offense is Steph Curry is awesome, as always, just not quite as good, but that's fine. Jimmy Butler is pretty good, but playing with 2 other non-shooters, Draymond and Gary Payton, is just like, I don't know, maybe Buddy or Pods will hit some threes tonight. It is a one-man offense plus whatever Jimmy does, but Jimmy's a scorer sometimes, an assister sometimes, kind of nothing sometimes. It's very weird. And it is a little bit interesting that like the Warriors, for years, when the Warriors were peak Warriors, they were still awesome defensively, and they hit just enough threes, but they're portrayed as the team that only shot threes all the time and just had all the threes, and that's all the thing. Like, no, they were always defensive identity first that drove the other things, and they're never quite like the Celtics version of threes. They've weirdly become the thing everyone thought they were that whole time. The defense is still pretty good, and now they just shoot all the threes, but they're not really that great at it. The Timberwolves are better at what the Warriors are trying to do, I think.
Yeah, that's actually like a really big part of this is, so if I'm wrong, I'm going to be wrong about the Wolves defense, which was good, but not elite this year. It wasn't as good as it was last year. And so if I'm wrong, then that's the difference, is that this Warriors defense is that good, when I've mostly just been like, yeah, I mean, they're good, but like, I'm not overwhelmed by them. I'm not like, oh man, it's so impressive. Ooh. I'm not also just kind of like, especially with the playoff performance, I'm like, well, yeah, you look good. Look at who you played. Like, again, Rockets, very talented. Like, I think I bet the Rockets to win the series because the price was wrong. But like, one of the things that I kept in the back of my mind was like, Houston is not really a 2 seed. They beat a bunch of teams better than them. Their record versus great teams was awesome, and that proved it to be the case. Like, they're a good case of, if a team looks like they're this elite world beater, but you're just like, no. Because I did the meme of the four Ghidorah heads of the teams with the best records versus the elite squads in the West, and had the Rockets as the one with the tongue sticking out, and Rockets fans got mad. And I was like, look, it's just like, you're not that. It's fine. You're a good team. And that's who the Warriors just beat in 7 games. Regular season, Steph had, so this is, okay, I got some numbers to trip you up here. In terms of overall, this is not offense, this is overall. Okay, you ready for this?
Sure.
Okay, with Steph on the court in the regular season versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Warriors had a 12.4 net rating with Buddy Hield on the court.
Yeah.
Thanks to their defense being 13.6 points better with Buddy on the court. Guy Santos only played 21 minutes. Curry, though, 123 offensive rating for the Warriors when Steph was on the court versus the Wolves this season, and a plus 9.3 net. Pretty good. If we let's take a look at that from just like the box score stuff. Curry versus the Wolves this season averaged 28.8 points and 7.5 assists on 44% from the field and 46% from 3 on 6 attempts per game.
Right. Well, and it needs to be said too, all 4 games came pre-Jimmy Butler. So all the season data has to be taken with, as always, grains of salt. But in this case, it's like totally different. The entire point of the case of the Warriors, like, look, I came on before last round and said, the Warriors are different. None of the numbers matter because it's just since Jimmy Butler. And here's the point I have. Jimmy Butler, I gave you the numbers last time. Since they got Butler, they're number 1 in defensive rating, number 8 in offense. They're up to plus 9.2 net rating. They've jumped to number 2 in turnovers forced, number 2 in free throw rate. That's the Warriors. That's their small sample. Well, I also had in my notes the Timberwolves since March 1st. It's a slightly smaller sample, but not much. Their offense is number 2 and defense number 7, and they're plus 11 net rating. So basically, during the same time span that all the data went no good anymore about the Warriors and made them this juggernaut, the Timberwolves became a juggernautier juggernaut. And even since they got Butler, they're much better. No, since they got Butler, the Timberwolves are still better than the since they got Butler version, and they're way better than the pre-Butler version when the Warriors beat them 3 games out of 4 for, like you said, the reason that you said that. Buddy hit 7 threes in one of the games. Steph had a bunch of great shooting nights. A lot of Timberwolves just didn't play well and had a bunch of off games, which, it's going to happen. So I don't make so much of the 3-1 outcome. The thing from the season series that bugged me was 2 things. The turnovers I mentioned. The other thing is, as I looked, okay, Warriors in offense, what can they do? Okay, well, they're going to get their threes up. We'll see if they hit them. I'm not sure that guys like Buddy are going to even be on the court enough to hit them. So we'll see about that. They're not going to score 2s that well. I don't think they're going to get free throws that well. That's one thing the Timberwolves got way better at this year. The defense is not quite as aggressive. It's less Rocketsy this year, but it's a little more conservative and it's fouling way less this year. So I think that's a spot where they can help. A weak spot is that the Warriors are top 5 in offensive rebounding. They're top 7 in second chance points. And again, in the regular season series, that bore out. The Warriors had 10, 14, 11, and 14 offensive rebounds. They averaged 12 per game. And again, for a Warriors offense, I don't trust or think is that good. It's league average, basically. They got second chance points, and they got easy turnover points. So you're right. They also got nice shooting, and that's how they won those games. But even not looking at the season series, what my worry for, maybe the Warriors offense can hang, was second chance and turnover points. And that happened really in all 4 games on both of those things. I think that that's a real concern for the Timberwolves.
Interesting. Do we feel like the Wolves are not going to be like the offensive rebound to me feels like an effort thing that gets equaled out in the playoffs because the Wolves have a playoff gear that I think is elite. Is that wrong?
I mean, it's weird because the Timberwolves are rated at top 10 on defensive rebounding, so it shouldn't really be an advantage. Like, initially in my notes, I was like, okay, Warriors, great offensive rebounding team, but Timberwolves should be able to negate that for the most part. And then I got to the data and I was like, uh-oh, that's showing up over and over again. Now, again, with which guys? Like Trace Jackson Davis had a couple really good games against them. Well, Trace Jackson Davis ain't playing right now. So will he play? I don't know. I'll tell you this. I looked for Kevon Looney rebounds leader in the series because I was like, man, Looney was awesome for like 20 minutes a game and almost all the games he played. That doesn't make any sense to me. Looney should not have any spot on the court in this series. Like, if you put Looney out there and Naz Reid is at center, the Timberwolves are going to score like 2 points of possession for a while. It is not going to go well. So I'm a little baffled by the whole thing. But I've seen Looney get shoved into a lineup like out of the mothballs before and have like these 15 and 20 rebound games. So it maybe is just hanging on to things from the past that we've seen, and these are the same guys, and maybe that's not there anymore. But it's enough to give me some pause. I have in my notes, I think the Warriors have paths to win games, but I think they're narrow. I think they're not going to win often on threes. They're not going to win on twos. They're not going to be the better defense. They're not going to win the line. They might be able to get it with offensive rebounds. They definitely can get it with points off turnovers, or they can get it if Steph or Butler just do the thing. That's the ways the Warriors can win, but there's a lot more ways for the Timberwolves to win, including just those things not happening, the Wolves being better.
Yeah, and like as we're talking, the turnovers thing is really sticking with me. So if we talk tactically, Steph should have a big series, like he should. They're not going to be able to. They don't have a screen chaser the way that other teams do. They don't have anybody honestly like Amen Thompson. You need a certain type of build to get over those. You have to be so. The thing with screen chasing, you've got to be athletic and strong enough to take the hit off the screen, but also light enough to where you're able to keep moving as you bounce off of that screen to be able to then burst and recover to track him. And that's something that Men is just absolutely like elite at. Jaden's very good and Na is very good, but neither of those guys are a Men. So I think Steph is going to be able to generate offense here. And it's like, ooh, if Steph has his, and I'm just like, yeah, for me, it's entirely about like, okay, and who else? A big factor here, probably, Brandon, Houston is this season, they were 19th in opponent free throw rate. Minnesota's 10th. Jimmy Grifter McGrifferson is going to grift his way to a handful of grifting points because that's really the only way that he's absolutely that effective at this point in his career. But I don't think they're going to be able to generate enough free throws against this team for that to kind of hold up. Like, Jimmy's going to have to make tough buckets over great defenders. I do not like this matchup for Jimmy Butler. Like, this is actually perfect for Ant. This is perfect. Ant's like, I get another legend to kill? Like...
And let me point out, as with the Timberwolves shirt on, let me just point out, not just a legend that he is going to want to kill specifically because Jimmy Butler burned down Minnesota on the way out the door. Jimmy Butler buried Karl Anthony Towns, who is a very close friend of Anthony Edwards, even though he wasn't on that team. And Jimmy Butler and Ant is going to want to play for Rudy Gobert, who, by the way, Draymond Green has not had kind things to say or do about over his career. Ant is going to be angry and play hard this series because of Jimmy and because of Draymond. So, on the player hierarchy thing, I don't know Ant or Steph who's number one in the series. Butler is third, and I think it's a more distant third, especially with the injury right now. I don't think it's a great matchup for him.
Yeah. So then there's Draymond, and I got a weird stat on Draymond, much like the Rockets series. Versus the Minnesota Timberwolves this year, Draymond Green played 57 minutes. The Golden State Warriors, Brandon, had a minus 13.3 net rating with Draymond on the floor. They scored 95 points per 100 possessions with Dre on the floor. and with a 108 defensive rating.
So let me ask you this. We'll get into the props toward the end. I've got a handful of props I like a lot again, so get your apps ready. I noticed that, so Draymond only played 2 games, so that 59 minutes is just across 2 games. He missed 2 of them. Draymond had, I'm coming back to assist leader later. It's the one series leader I like for this one. Draymond averaged 14 potential assists a game in those 2 games that he played, which is way higher than any other player that you can go for here. And Draymond's got some long, juicy numbers for assists. To me, I didn't go back and watch the film on Draymond assists. Is the bad offensive rating that Draymond had a ton of potential assists and everybody just missed all the shots? That checks out to me. It's just like Draymond created a bunch of shots, or maybe created bad shots. I don't know if they're any good, but all the dudes missed all the shots because his assist numbers aren't actually that good, but he's creating a lot of stuff. Maybe it's because like Steph's not on the court. There's no Butler yet to do some other things. So who's taking the shots? It's like Wiggins still, and it's, Melton, like guys, Kyle Anderson, guys off the team now.
Sure.
That kind of checks out to me that like maybe that's just why is they had the terrible offensive rating and he was having all these potentials because they just couldn't do anything with them.
Do you trust their offensive shooters more now?
Absolutely, yes.
Why? Who?
I trust Pods, definitely. Pods has been much better since Jimmy Butler.
Okay. You can say he's been better. Trust is a lot there, Brandon. Like,
I trust him more. You're asking me comparatively. Okay. You're comparing to D'Anthony Melton, Kyle Anderson, Wiggins, Trace Jackson Davis. Like, the dudes that went out of there. When the Butler trade happened, it's not just Butler that remade this team. They completely switched the lineup. They started playing, now it did not go well in round 1. They started playing your boy Moses Moody way more. He's been way better in the lineup. So they have guys who are natural shooters playing now compared to guys who are negative offensive players before. Trust is probably not fair. They're much better than negative offensive players. On the player hierarchy thing, while we're there. So Ant or Steph, 1 and 2, Butler 3. I'm going to kindly give Draymond 4, but I don't know if he's really number 4 here. But I can't in good conscience put Randall or Rudy ahead of Gobert or ahead of Draymond. A crazy thing is, this sort of sets up, once I do the hierarchy, keep going from there. Here's my next 6 guys. This is the order I have them. You can quibble about the order. Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Mike Conley. The next 6 guys, I have Pods 11th. So 7 of the top 10 guys in the series are Timberwolves. That's the argument I made last round, Matt, about the Lakers. That this was a 3-man-ish team and Reeves never showed up for the series. Maybe Draymond will be the version of that this round if it's not a good matchup. And guess what? Steph and Butler are great, but they're not Luka and LeBron. So if you're doing a hierarchy thing, the Timberwolves have an even better roster advantage, I think, than the Warriors. And as you're right, a Warriors fan myself, having watched these games with a lot of intensity, Golden State's got a lot of dudes who do not belong on an NBA court in an actual NBA playoff series. Not a Houston one, an actual one. Playing the Timberwolves, like, Quentin Post, get all the way out of here. You can't be playing real minutes in an actual playoff game that matters. Gary Payton, you're a 20 minutes guy. You're a gimmick player, defender, Alex Caruso role, not a starter that plays 35 minutes. Like, I think Pods is pretty important in the series because I think he is clearly the 4th best Warrior and the only other guy on the team outside of the 3 main dudes that's a two-way player that they can actually kind of have some amount of trust in. Maybe that's Moody, but he's not been good so far. It's not Buddy. I don't know if he can stay on the field. He should get targeted. Houston couldn't target him. Minnesota can target him. I don't know who the Warriors' other dudes are. Like, Guy Santos should not be playing NBA playoff minutes in a real series right now. We got Cam, Pat, Spencer, George Spencer, whoever the Spencer dude is, he should not be like, I don't even know who you are. You shouldn't be out there against the Timberwolves in a series. The Timberwolves' depth is going to have a huge advantage here. I think Nas is going to have a big series. I think Dante is going to have a big series. I don't know who can play for the Warriors. Like, they're running out of dudes. That rotation is not Western Conference Finals good.
I'm gonna backtrack. I'm gonna go to Wolves -1.5 at a small plus number. I am gonna play the escalator. But it's just like, yes, this all seems to me like very obvious, and it's just like, look at tonight. Like we're recording this after the Knicks, like the Knicks did whatever that was, and we'll talk about that tomorrow on the show. And then the Nuggets thing, and it, I think I will say one of the things I think is very important for me in the series. I could go through some tactical stuff about like, hey, the Warriors are going to send a lot of help inside on ant drives, and that's going to open up drive and kick. And the Wolves have really good shooters, and the Warriors, quite honestly, don't. Like they just don't. They have two really good shooters in Buddy and Steph. I think a big part of Houston, no one on Houston was built to be like, oh, you're going to play Buddy Hield? Oh, come here, young man. Come here. Come here. The Wolves are much better with Finch about manipulating your weak spots and making it to where it's like, that dude can't play. He's not a good enough defender. That guy can't play. He's not a good enough shooter. Like they will weed you out because of their execution level. They're also, again, this is an ephemeral thing, and I'm not trying to rely on it, but it is part of my cap. I wrote an entire column about this last year after they beat the Nuggets, and I called them ravenous. And it really is the identity that they've taken behind Ant. And I want to compare that to the Clippers. The Clippers with Kawhi are like after the game, he was like, yeah, it sucks. Oh, well, Apple time. Gonna go fly home on my private helicopter back to San Diego. Board man gets paid, right? Versus like Ant is like, I want to kill everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. And they collectively, they fight for every single possession in a way that Houston does defensively, but they also attack you offensively with the same level of intensity and execution and confidence because they have the guys to do it because they're just more experienced. Yeah. You're right about Nas. He's going to have, I think, a massive part in the series. I suggested this on Locked on NBA today, and I don't think it happens. This is a galaxy brain, but I do want to bring it up because in case something like this happens. With Draymond likely to guard Julius Randle if they play it too big, if they're putting him on Rudy Gobert, okay, fine. If Draymond is guarding Randle, park Randle in the left corner. Just park him. Just park him in the left corner. You do exactly what you do to Kawhi Leonard, which is you put him in the corner and you be like, you have two choices. You can help off and go roaming into the paint to help out and do all your Draymond things and probably kick someone in the head. But you're going to leave a 37% catch and shoot shooter who has been very confident in these playoffs wide open. Okay. You stay home. We're running 4-on-4 action with Buddy Hield and Steph Curry. Best of luck to you. And that is where things get dicey. They're going to try and play Rudy off. And it's harder than it used to be. A lot of it is going to be about the passing that Steph is going to have to make, where you're going to be able to get slips against some of this coverage. And if Steph hits those passes, then Draymond is in his exact right spot, which is 4-on-3, either with a guy in the dunker spot going for the lob or with three space shooters. If Steph can't make that pass, now you're in trouble because Steph really has trouble with aggressive hedge discipline. His best stuff is run that, do the short kick, execute the offense, relocate, open three. And that's like they'll still get a lot of those points. You can't stop Steph. He's Steph Curry. I am very curious when the Wolves are on offense, though, about how much Jaden McDaniels can give them because he was amazing in the Lakers series. And he is not going to face likely, like if they try and hide Steph Curry on him, it's similar to the Luka Doncic assignment. If they try and hide Buddy Hield on him, it's similar to the Luka Doncic assignment. Like Jaden can either shoot or drive past them. And if he's going to produce offensively, the Warriors are not going to have enough. If they get contributions from Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid, I'm cashing. This is a quick series. If Jaden regresses back, okay, now this is more of a grinded out, and the Warriors can steal this by doing Jimmy Butler's things. Like they won a lot of these games by doing just like Warriors old head team knows how to play playoff basketball stuff. And they can still do that even to a more experienced Wolves team. But your margin for error is like extremely tight because the Wolves have, in my opinion, the best player in the series based off of just the age. Like Steph's still Steph in a lot of games, but he's also like, you see some of these games where he's just like chucking up stuff because he can't get good looks. They can't get the 36-year-old good looks anymore because their offense is so bad. And so anyway, that's kind of my like overview kind of where the offense
Yeah,
is
and I
supposed to.
agree with a lot of that. Like the other problem with playing Gobert off the court is, okay, Steph has to make the passes to who? Like we're back to that again. Like, okay, great, Steph made the pass, but who's going to do something with it now? Who's going to hit a shot or punish Wolves defense that has guys that are awesome at recovering and taking it back away? I do not think Rudy is going to get played off the court here. This is not prime Steph, and it's not prime Steph's dudes around him anymore either. And you keep saying Buddy. I don't think Buddy's going to be out there all that much. I think Buddy's going to get played well out of the rotation by the time we get into the series.
I mean,
I'm
look,
gonna come back to my.
they don't have enough guys. Like Buddy Hield played 162 minutes in the Rockets series.
But even in that series, though, he got like played out a couple of games that Kerr cannot find dudes in the rotation to stick because they're not there. They don't exist. And I agree with you. You didn't say it this way. I love Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr for president. I will take Chris Finch in this series for rotations and in-game decisions. I'm going to take that coaching decision. I'm going to come back to my thesis and explain the best bet. Beyond all the things we just said, we're talking here like 100% Wolves, 100% Warriors. That's not what the Warriors are right now. I'm going to let you look up the Game 7 stat. I'll throw it to you in a second. This, again, my thesis was about the attrition finally coming home to roost. That especially pushes this way over the edge in Minnesota's favor. This series comes off Game 7. So Golden State flew from California on one-day rest to Houston to Minnesota, across the country again, one-day rest. Team you haven't prepared for at all. So they got Game 1 coming off of one-day rest, off of Game 7. We'll get to the stat. Before all that, you had 7 games against a team that beat the living crap out of you by design. That's what Houston wanted to do. Before that, you had a Clippers play-in game that you should have won by a lot, but instead allowed them to push all the way to the end, in which Jimmy Butler got hurt and has never quite been himself since then. Before that, you gave away Clippers game 82 in the last day of the season and cost yourself into the play-in. And before that was Spurs game 80. All those things, the Spurs lost, the Clippers lost, the Grizzlies not lost, the Rockets pushing it to 7, not ending it in 5. All those things are why the Warriors are going to lose the series, because Steph and Jimmy and Draymond are not spring chickens anymore. They are getting one day off every single game through Game 5 of the series. Weirdly, there's 3 days off before Game 6. I don't know if we're getting to Game 6. I don't know that we're going to get there. By the way, Draymond's going to get a day off in there because Draymond's one technical away from a suspension. He's already accumulated all enough points. He's definitely missing a game in this series. So goodbye defense in that game. Like, you're getting a schedule loss in Game 1 for the Warriors, and you're getting a Draymond schedule loss when he misses a game suspended, because it's going to happen. I think that this could mirror in some ways the Lakers series, where you get the couple home wins, you win 1 on the road, you close out in 5. So my best bet is Game 1 and series, Minnesota. I looked at just Minnesota minus 175, not worth it. I looked at the minus 1.5. I don't necessarily think that's worth it because I'm losing a home Game 7 that I would like if it got there. I don't really think it's going to, but it's not enough to sacrifice it. I looked at my usual bet, just Wolves in 5 or 6. I don't want to sacrifice the sweep here. I think that that's very much in play. So Wolves Game 1 or series. And then here's my 3 bets. I'm making 3 escalator bets on this. I'm assuming they're winning Game 1. Why? Tell me the stat, Matt Moore. Game 1 after Game 7.
Well, it's now 5 and 18 after that. So that's not great. It's now considerably worse.
Still
than
great. It's still a great stat. Give the stat.
5 and 19 straight up. It is, I believe, I'm trying to think. Oh, 30% still. 30.
What is the stat? Tell me the stat. What are the words?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. The stat is teams off of a Game 7 less than 3 days rest versus an opponent with more than 4 days rest are bad.
Very bad. Just as bad as it looked for the first half of the Thunder before things fell apart late. That is what you look to happen. All the weird Jokic turnovers, all the tired Porter mistakes. It went weird late, but Minnesota Game 1. So if I like the Timberwolves to win Game 1, and I think that they win in 5 or less, I can get real creative here, because I don't need the in 5 scenario where they lose the first game and win the next 4. I'm not betting on that one. We're winning the first game. I also don't need the one where they win the first 3 and then the Warriors are like, nah, we're not going out like that. We'll win 1 game and then you beat us. I don't need that either. I think the Warriors would just be exhausted and done at that point. So if the Wolves go up 3-0, it's over. It's a sweep. Give me the sweep 10-1 MGM. 9.1%. I have it 13.5%. And give me the Wolves in 5, but only 2 scenarios. Wolves in 5 exact outcome with a loss in game 2 is 28-1 at DraftKings. Wolves in 5 with a loss in game 3 at 11-1 at BetMGM. I'm betting all 3 of those. I'm betting 3 exact outcomes, Matt. You've finally gotten to me. A sweep at 10-1, loss in game 2, Wolves in 5, 28-1, loss in 3, Wolves in 5, 11-1. I'm betting all 3, quarter unit on each. Basically, I'm getting all 3 of those at implied 21%. I make it over 30%. So that's the edge that I'm going for. We're in a similar spot. I just, I'm bored, and it's the last one of the round, and I had to get creative and find something fun to do. So 3 bets, 3 escalators.
I like it. It's good stuff. Yeah, I make Wolves in 5, 20%. So I've only got like a slight edge on this at this point because the market has moved towards me. I grabbed this earlier, but I still like it. I still think that that's the most likely outcome. I have a lot of confidence in this Wolves team. I don't have any confidence in this Warriors team. I might be wrong again. I will ask you, look, we thought the Celtics were going to kill the Knicks, and we thought the Thunder were going to kill the Nuggets, and we went 0 of 2. The Pacers knocked off the Cavaliers in game 1. Like, what if all 4 dogs go on the road and win in game 1?
Here's what I'll say. I think the public thought the Celtics would cruise and the Thunder would cruise and the Cavs would cruise. And I think the public thinks that the Warriors will cruise. So the Timberwolves are still safe. That's what I think. My newfound, old-found Timberwolves fandom. That's what it thinks. Okay. I'm going to lightning around through a bunch of prop stuff that I like. I mentioned earlier, series leader on assists, I think is a really interesting one to watch. Here's why. From the regular season, here's the assist numbers. Steph, 6.0, Butler, 5.9, Draymond, 5.6, Randall, 4.7, Ant, 4.5, Conley, 4.5. There's this plurality of dudes, and nobody gets a lot of assists. I don't think it's Steph. You mentioned his stats earlier, 7.5 per game. That was all pre-Butler. His assists are down since Butler. They just share the ball too much. I don't think it's a Warrior. I don't think it's a good Conley series again. We love our guy Mike Conley. He was not good in the series. I actually think Dante is going to have a big series. He had 2 really good games to close out the year when they played the Warriors. I will actually nibble at 100-1 Dante DiVincenzo, assist leader at DraftKings. That's the number he's at everywhere. But what I really love is Ant. Again, we cashed that last round. At ESPN Bet, there's a stray plus 300 on Ant to lead in assists. He had 6.2 last round, but it was really 7.8 with a 0 in there. The 0 counts, but he had 9, 8, and 6, I think, in the other games. He had 9, 6, and 5 in 3 of the Warriors games this season. He led the team in potentials. So I love that at 3-1. That's my favorite prop bet. You can bet 5 assists every game at BetMGM plus 775. I don't think that's probably going to hit, but I have that at about 18% versus 11% there. So that's the main one. Series leader, Ant, 3-1. I will be watching to invest later in Ant points, Steph threes, Rudy rebounds. No real shockers there, but if one of those or more falls behind in game 1, I feel pretty good about all 3 of those to like come back in at a shorter number. Right now, it's not enough for me to be too invested. But that's the series leaders. I got a couple other like quick hitters. But any thoughts on the Ant assist play?
I'm hesitant because I know how much the Warriors are going to switch versus him. And I never like assist plays when guys are going to be switched on.
Can you get to a 6 per game? That's the number I think somebody needs to get to win this.
Yeah. And you can just be right because like they can just.
Yeah. See, I don't think it's a huge Ant assist game or series, right. But I just think that this market is pretty winnable.
Cap's good.
So, okay. This is the most fun series. We agree with that. Maybe not. Now that the other underdogs are all winning, but Warriors Timberwolves should be a lot of fun. There's a lot of storylines. I found 2 super fun bets. I think these are good bets also, but you just should bet these because they're super fun. Here's number 1. Anthony Edwards to score 40 points in any game of the series. Plus 115 at BetMGM. Just bet it. Ant is going to start raining buckets, and you're going to have the time of your life watching him smack talking Butler and Draymond run up and down the court. He's had 40 points or more in 4 of 6 playoff series for his career. It's been a good bet. Bet it. Number 2, we talked about it already. Naz Reid, 15 points in any game of the series, plus 175 bet MGM. I think this is my favorite of any of these bets. He had 15 points in almost 50% of his regular season games. Now, a couple of those obviously are starting, but against the Warriors, he had 15 and 16 this season. He had 23 against the Lakers, game 1 last round. He's had at least a 15-point game in 3 straight series right now. I think Naz is, again, fun player. I'm finally ready to admit it, Matt. Naz Reid is a fun player. 15 points. You'll enjoy watching him shoot threes. Plus 175. I like his overs, just points per game. Also, he's at 9.5 for game 1. So I think that's a good play. My guy Pods, I really think he's going to be on the court at BetMGM. 9 points or more in every game. This is a sicko bet. Brandon Podziemski, 9 or more every game, is plus 400. Last round, he was scoreless in the game he was sick. Otherwise, he had 14, 10, 26, 8, 10, and 9. Almost 13 points a game. He's had 9 or more points 17 of his last 20 healthy games. The misses were 8, 8, and 7. So here's what's going to happen on this bet. He's going to get barely over 9 most of the games. He's going to have one great game, and he's going to be sitting at 7 points with 2 minutes left in a tight game. And you're going to be like, please, pass the ball to Pods. And every Warriors fan is going to say, no, why would we give him the ball right now? Because I need my every game bet. It's going to be you against the world, 4-1. You'll be with me. I wanted the Looney rebounds long shot. I think Rudy rebounds is the way to go. Some Rudy rebound props. 18 rebounds in any game at plus 575. 10 or more rebounds every game at 12-1. Both MGM. Just nibbles on those. And that is it. So my favorites out of all those, Ant assist leader 3-1. Naz 15 points in any game plus 175. And the Brandon Podziemski sicko bet, 9 points or more in every game, 4-1. That's it. That's it for round 2.
Okay. We are capped on round 2. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. You can catch us tomorrow, or when you're listening to this, you can catch us on the Buckets episode later in the day, previewing Wednesday's games in the NBA playoffs. My thanks to David Payne, our producer, Gifford Gould, getting us up at youtube.com/theactionnetwork, and my best wishes for Bridie Rubino for her getting up at her having the birth of her kiddo. I am so excited for Bridie. Bridie's amazing. We love Bridie. Thanks to all of the fans for checking us out. Buckets Live, 10:30 Eastern, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Join us for reactions. I wish we had one tonight because I would have been screaming my head off.
Oh, man.
Incredible. Second round is off to a bang, guys. So hope you guys are on board. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.